Hey, don't ever let somebody tell you you can't do something. Not even me. All right?
All right.
You got a dream, you got to protect it. People can't do something themselves. They want to tell you you can't do it. You want something, go get it. Period.
Welcome to Successful Dropout. This podcast is for the outliers, the innovators, the rebels, those that dare to dream and act on their dreams. I'm your host, Kylan Ginger. Join me as we find out what it takes to drop out, grind, and succeed. What is up, successful dropouts? Get stoked because today on the show we have Emily Hirsch. Emily is a leading Facebook ad manager and sales funnel strategist who works with entrepreneurs to grow their business and generate revenue and leads using proven sales funnels and Facebook ads strategies. After starting an online fitness business with her husband, Emily now has multiple successful online businesses and is passionate about helping other entrepreneurs discover the power of running a successful business from home. Emily has been a part of multiple six-figure launches and specializes in helping entrepreneurs come up with an individual marketing plan that makes them stand out and gets them leads and sales. So Emily, that's the intro I have for you, but tell us a little bit more about yourself and what you do.
Yeah. Well, so I've always been an entrepreneur, since I can remember, and I think probably a lot of people listening to this can relate to that, coming up with business ideas when I was young. And I kind of fell into the online world 3 years ago, like I said, when my husband and I started an online fitness company. And that really opened up a lot of doors to me and introduced me to such a huge amount of possibilities, which is really where my success has come from. And I've built, off of that business that we started, my own business, 2 businesses, and continued to grow from there. So yeah, that's mostly I think it's important to realize that, I've always been an entrepreneur, but I never really found something that took off, for a while until I got introduced to the online world, and the amount of connections that I've made, from this has been amazing.
And that was just 3 years ago. And so how old are you now?
I'm 22.
22. Wow. So when you were 19.
Yeah. Well, and
amazing.
like I said, I had my first business, official business, when I was 14, in high school at a local. My friend and I went around and cleaned and organized for this whole old person community in our community. And that's how I bought my first car. So that was my first official business. But I remember always feeling frustrated because I was too young, to really have a really successful business. People wouldn't take me seriously. So
you're right. Yep.
I struggled with that. And then I feel in the online world, a lot of times I would actually, in the beginning, I wouldn't say what my age was because of that block I had of I don't want people to think I'm not capable. But I've owned up to it now. And, now it's kind of part of my brand. The fact that I've grown such a huge business at a young age.
No kidding. Yeah. And I guess, if you are providing value and getting people results, ultimately, it doesn't matter. And I'm sure you found that out.
Yeah, exactly.
So how many businesses do you have? Let's lay them out on the table. How many businesses do you have now, and what are their names? What do they entail?
Yeah. So my husband and I still have it's an online fitness company. Kettlebell Movement is what it's called. And he does all the content. So he's been teaching kettlebell training for 10 years, and he's really great at content, but he used to be a personal trainer, and we wanted to reach more people. So that's where we came up with the idea to kind of go online. And it's just kind of been a journey, because at first we thought, DVDs, which I'm so glad we didn't do, but we got some guidance, and now, we have an online membership site is ultimately what it is, where people pay a monthly fee to get access to our video library, our lessons, daily workout, and it's all streaming online. So it's a very passive revenue model. So that's the business that we started 3 years ago, but we didn't launch it into a membership site until a year ago in February. So it's really exploded in the last year when we were very clear about what we were doing. We had previously an online program before that. And then from that business, I took my skills that I basically learned growing that business with marketing and tech, and I started taking on clients. Like first I called myself just a virtual assistant. And so I had clients all over pretty much the US, but really all over the world that were business coaches, mostly other solo entrepreneurs that I would help with tech. And then that also grew into marketing. And now, I mean, I'm fully booked like 100% of the time, just do Facebook ads and marketing for solo entrepreneurs. I have a team now of 5 and it's growing. And then in November, I launched a program called the Virtual Assistant Academy. And that basically teaches people how to do what I've grown, the business that I've grown. Virtual assistant alone was like life-changing for me because it was something like I was always good and very organized and liked the idea of having an assistant job, but it was so cool that I could do it from anywhere, and have that freedom. And when I started that, I was in college still, and then it just like blew up. So I started an academy to help young people, but also moms who maybe want something. I am a mom, and so moms who want something to do outside of just being a mom, but they don't want to leave their kids. So I'm really passionate and excited about also spreading that to people and showing people what's possible, because there's a lot of people I meet who they're like, what do you do? They don't really know the possibility of the online world, and so I really want people to see that, and it's not something that's taught in college at all, yet. So a lot of people that don't realize.
Right. Gotcha. And so then are those the only 2 online businesses you guys have, the Virtual Assistant Academy and Kettlebell Movement of Fitness?
And then I take private clients for marketing and Facebook ads. I have a whole team that serves a lot of clients doing that.
Awesome. Wow. So do you and your husband just work from home now then?
Yeah, we both work full-time from home.
That's fantastic. So I want to get more into those a little bit later in the interview. I think it'd be really interesting for you to kind of take us through the building blocks of, I guess, what it would take to start a business like that. But right now, if you could tell us, I'm interested to hear your dropout or opt-out story, going into college. What kind of drove you to make the decision to opt out and not finish your degree?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, it was because I was so busy with my business and it was just expanding so quickly that I realized, that it wasn't really in my best interest to continue. It didn't make sense to continue college because at that point I was actually majoring in a kinesiology degree. I was going to go into health and eventually go into to do Chinese medicine was what I wanted to do down the line.
Oh, wow.
I've always been actually a good student. Like I enjoyed school. I was always one of the students who was really good at school, but would take every shortcut I could to do the fastest route. So I didn't struggle in school, but I always, I saw this path that I could be making a lot of money way faster. And the other thing is, I have a lot of friends obviously right now who are graduating college. They're finishing their 4-year degree, and it's like they have no money and they have this student debt and they don't know what they're doing next. So I have a pretty, strong opinion about the way that college has gone right now. I don't think it actually, sometimes it will teach you if you want to be a doctor, you have to go, obviously, but it doesn't necessarily give you the skills to go out and get an amazing job. And then some people end up in this huge debt and, it's like this path that they thought they had to go on. And so for me, I just saw the opportunity for my business, and it definitely went against, what my family wanted me to do, what people wanted me to do, because it was like, you're so smart and this is what you're supposed to do is go to college and you can't be successful unless you do that, is what I was told. But, I have a multiple 6-figure business and I don't have a college degree, and I didn't learn any of this in college that I implement on a daily basis, But I think you have to have the ability to self-teach yourself things still and have that, so I would learn through podcasts and other online material like online communities and networking. So I was still learning. It just wasn't sitting in a classroom and learning. So I think that's important too. Like, it's not easy to get where, to have a successful business. You have to like have the drive. And that's something that I'm gifted with, is having that drive, and not have to like show up to a classroom to get something done.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, growing up, what were you like? I mean, what would you say, about, your life kind of before college? What was it about it that gave you that kind of natural drive and the ability to be a self-starter?
Yeah. Honestly, I think it's in my genes. My dad's also an entrepreneur. He has multiple businesses. And so I learned from him. Also, I'm the oldest of 4. So I think that's part of it too. I'm the only girl and the oldest of 4. And so I was, I got a lot of that. Like, the oldest child usually gets a lot of one-on-one attention and that, confidence when they're born. Yep. So I had
I'm
that.
I'm an oldest child too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I see it in my son too. He's very advanced, and I know it's because he's gotten all this one-on-one time with us as being the only child. So I think that plays a part in it. Being the oldest of 3 brothers, I was very much, the leader. But I think it's too, like, I have a drive. I like to be busy as my personality. Like, I thrive off of having things to do and challenges. And, growing up, I would say I was always like a little bit of a rule breaker. I would like question. I like to like question things. And, like I said, in school, like, take shortcuts. If it was like I didn't do busy work, I would not do that. I refused to waste my time with that. So, I've always been a rule breaker. Still am like that. We'll do things that people probably wouldn't necessarily do, but yeah.
Love it. Yeah, that's a common theme on the show. What was I read a quote by, it was out of Tools of Titans, which, by the way, anybody listening, Tim Ferriss's new book, Tools of Titans, I would highly recommend. But in there, one of the people he interviews, he was laying out kind of his list of laws that he'd kind of come up with throughout, the 20 or 30 years. And I loved a couple of them. One was like, if you can't win the game, change the rules. And if you can't change the rules, ignore them, was the quote.
That's funny. I like that.
And I just love that. Yeah. That's pretty common with the guests we have on the show.
Yeah.
It's just essential for thinking creatively, being an entrepreneur, and especially coming to that realization and gathering up the courage to step out of, off the conveyor belt and do your own thing. But Emily, I'm kind of curious. So what drove you to start an online business? I mean, what was the moment you decided that that's what you were going to do?
Well, we started with the fitness business, and what happened was we knew we wanted to put together content that would reach a lot of people, because my husband at that time was working one-on-one with people, which you're very limited, with the people you can reach. Right. So we actually came to 2 of his clients, which were a videographer, she worked in LA, and a web developer. And we kind of came to them with our idea of what we wanted, and they actually steered us in the direction of, let's put videos online and kind of leverage like the power of YouTube today, and where that's going, because this was 3 years ago, so it was obviously still big, but there still was Beachbody DVDs and DVDs out there, but I'm so glad that we didn't do that. But that was kind of like the introduction to, for me, like Facebook ads, and the power of just like the amount of people you can reach through online marketing, all from your house. So that business introduced me to it, and then I started actually joining like online Facebook groups, and really started to see like other entrepreneurs and what they were doing and what was possible. I also started listening to Amy Porterfield's podcast a couple of years ago. That was one of my first introductions to Facebook ads and what's possible in the marketing world. And so it's kind of a combination of that. Like, our business was the first introduction, but then I kind of pushed myself farther to learn from what others were doing so that we could implement that in our business that we had.
Interesting. So for those listening, if anybody listening is interested in starting some sort of online business, maybe service or product-based business, Could you take us through kind of some of the building blocks and steps that you would need to do that now that you've kind of been through the process and I'm sure learned by trial and error?
Yeah, the steps. Yeah, I mean, yeah, I get asked that question a lot. And I think that a huge thing is networking and really like just surrounding yourself with knowledge and building the business, because I think you start with an idea like we did of what we think we want to do, right? But then it kind of evolved over time into something different. You know, when we started, we didn't know we were going to do a membership site. I didn't know I was going to become like this Facebook ads specialist, but because my experience just took me on this journey, and I dedicated myself to networking and like learning and really going in the direction of what I enjoyed, you know, it took me on that, you know. So I think when you start a business, you don't have to have like a whole blueprint of the way it's going to look for the next year even, you know. You just kind of start with something that you're passionate about. You could talk about it all day long. You're good at it, you know, and put content out there and just like put yourself out there. And then really ask yourself, like, too, you know, I always ask my clients, like, what problem are you solving for people when they're creating their sales funnels or, you know, their marketing plan? And it's like that question has to be asked too, because that's obviously like for every business, the core of it is what problem are they solving and how are they serving people? So asking yourself those questions and then applying what you're good at and creating something around that, and then just letting it happen and going, you know, networking and putting yourself around people who are where you want to be. I think that's huge too, because you learn so much from people.
Yeah. Now, when you built the business, did you approach it where you guys kind of like disappeared for 3 months, built this shiny new, you know, thing and website or whatever, and then invited people to it? Or did you have a few or several maybe existing clients that you kind of transitioned into it and that helped jumpstart the business?
No, we didn't really do that first. Like, we had a website, yes, a basic website. We've totally redone it since we started. But more than that, we just started putting content out there. So like YouTube videos, you know, started a Facebook page and other social media channels, and my husband just started putting videos out there and content. And then we didn't even have a product at that point. You know, it was more just, and I think that's really important.
So it was free content,
yeah,
basically.
Exactly. It was YouTube videos is how we started. We have quite a lot of YouTube subscribers because initially we thought that's where we wanted to be. And so we just started putting out like weekly videos on YouTube and had a blog on our website and then Facebook page, you know, and would do some Facebook ads to that content. And it wasn't until at least like 6-7 months after we started the business that we had our product ready to sell. But at that point we had a following, you know. So I see this a lot too with my clients and with other people, is they don't start like marketing and gaining visibility until they have that product. And then it's like they have to wait to go through those steps to gain the visibility and to do the marketing before they can sell it. And so you know, you can start today with putting free content out there and just like seeing how you can help people and interact with them and gain visibility online.
Yeah, interesting. So were you building an email list then while you were putting out all this free content?
Yeah, and that's something that we didn't do right away, which was a huge mistake now knowing that. But yes, we were. We had like eventually we had a free like PDF that you could download. We had a newsletter sign up on our website always, but then we turned it into more like they get something for free if they give us their email address. Gotcha. And then we would market that. But that's extremely important because obviously having those emails is so valuable. So if you are starting, you know, put the content out there and have something that somebody can download and get, you know, in exchange for their email address, because you can use those emails in 6 months once your product is ready or you have something new to offer.
So what was the free PDF that you gave away exactly?
It was a workout bundle, like a strength bundle. So I think it had 3 mini ebooks in it, and it was like strength foods and then workouts and exercises. It was all like done by my husband, and then we had it branded and designed. So they got like a bundle.
Oh,
yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. And we still do a lot of that. I mean, that's like our primary marketing. So right now we'll run free challenges that lead to our membership site all the time, so you sign up for the free challenge, and then we have you sign up for our, pitch to sign up for our membership. So that's a huge part of what I do for clients too, is create those freebies.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay. So I'm just trying to sort of deconstruct the process a bit for people listening if they're interested in doing the same thing. So you started out with, you partnered with your husband. You started out with something you guys had experience and knowledge in and were passionate about, which was fitness. And it sounds like you really got passionate about the ad side of things, sales funnels, and managing the business as well. Put out the first step seems like it's just putting out a bunch of free content, getting people to love what you're putting out, capturing email addresses when you can with a kind of a free gift offer in exchange for an email address, which I think is awesome. An essential tactic if you want to grow a list. When you got to the point where you started creating the actual product to sell, were you communicating with your audience on what they wanted while you were building that product, or did you how did that work?
And I was just going to say that too. I mean, when you're putting out that content, really listen to what people are, maybe they're not directly saying what they want, but what are they responding to more than what else you're putting out? What's like your top video or your top blog post, and what's getting the most response. And then you can kind of create your product around that, and not just create your product, but also create your marketing. So your copy and the way that you pitch it is in alignment with what these people are having the problems with. So yeah, we did do that. With our first product was a 30-day, and we still have it, a 30-day program. That's really great. Has like 25 workouts in it. It's basically like your standard fitness program, but they can stream it online. It had, a whole diet guideline, and it's 30 days one-time purchase. And so that was our first product that we put out there. And we sold over time, and then we started building our membership site after that. And the reason that we started building our membership site is we realized, like, at that point we were putting out all this free content, and we were getting such a good response from it. And we realized, like, we're not going to make money if we keep putting out, 2 videos a week for free. We have this huge following now. Let's move these people over to a higher quality content that's paid.
Gotcha. I see. So kind of the next step there. Did you ever directly ask any of your audience, what would you like to see more of, or what's a problem?
Yeah.
That
we did do a couple of surveys.
Like,
so we emailed our list out with a survey, and we actually did a giveaway. Like, if they completed the survey, I think it was a gift card or something that we gave them. And so we did the survey because, number one, we wanted to know. We asked them, like, what's stopping them from working out, those type of things, like what problems they're facing, what can we do more of, all those things. And we listened to that, and then we also used a lot of the actual verbiage that people used to create our sales page and our emails and stuff around our products.
Okay, yeah, sweet. So I love that concept, because you don't have to guess if people are wanting to buy your product. I mean, they're literally telling you what they want, and then you're building it.
Right. Yeah, and I think even just listening to, like, what people respond to in your free content is so important, because sometimes you think somebody wants something and then it's something totally different, or they don't know they need it, what you're offering. So you have to go like a step down and give them something else first.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. And I've made this mistake before. I've disappeared for a couple months at a time and built something brand new and shiny, and then presented it to the world, and nobody wanted it. And it just, it's common. It seems like common sense now, but for those of you listening, man, there's nothing simpler than just, once you put out a bunch of free content, gain kind of a following, there's nothing simpler than just asking people, what do you struggle with? And when they tell you, those are your cues, and you just start building a solution to whatever they're struggling with, and you've got a customer pretty much. Right.
Yeah. So it's so key to listen to that ideal client and customer and give them what they want, because that's your business right there.
So Emily, where do you see all this going in the long term? What's kind of your long-term vision for this?
Well, our membership site that business is huge. We joke it's our retirement. So we've been really lucky that, like, my business can support us, and we've been able to put everything back into marketing in the last year. It's obviously a huge passive revenue model because it's like you have 1,000 members paying $15 a month and you don't have to do a lot of work for it. You just have to build up those members. We currently have almost 600 members. We just did our biggest launch challenge to date. Obviously, January is huge for the fitness industry. So it's been an exciting month. Yeah, month for that. But I love to work. Like, I'm still young, so I see myself like working for a long time, building a huge brand, more like an agency. My team is constantly growing, serving really high level clients with marketing and Facebook ads. I prefer to work with one-on-one clients versus like companies. I think a lot of companies need to be introduced to Facebook ads and sales funnels, but they're not quite there yet. Like the corporations, they're still stuck in Google ads and clicking and all that, so they don't know the power yet of Facebook ads. I think it's going to really start. It already has in the last 2 years really start to come forward what it can do. And then my academy, and creating more and more, like growing that, I see myself maybe having an agency down the line where I can actually help people get jobs too, because that's something like I have people sign up for my academy and I really want to make sure that they succeed and they find a job. And I have people also come to me because I have the academy all the time and ask for referrals for virtual assistants or people that I could recommend. So if I could figure out how to tie those two in somehow and create an agency around that, I'm sure I'll do that. I'm always coming up with new ideas.
That's exciting stuff. Hey, so do you actually, out of curiosity, with your fitness site, with the members, do you just keep adding fresh content?
Yeah, we don't promise a certain amount ever because, we went to Europe for 5 weeks in the fall, and we didn't do anything obviously then. But so we will go times where we don't add content. And then like right now we're doing a huge challenge. So my husband's adding like 45 new workout videos to the membership base. But it's kind of like whatever we want, as long as there's enough in there, which at this point we have tons. He'll probably just switch to do like special workout series or something. It's all up to him. He does all the content. But we don't have to add it. At this point, it's built. It's actually really awesome. We have like I have a really amazing programmer. And so we couldn't find any platform that could do basically what we want to do with creating this membership dashboard. So it's like totally customized. We have like a custom WordPress plugin that's ours that does exactly what we want. So it's a really cool product. Like I said, we've been really fortunate that we could put a lot of money back into it in the last year, both in marketing and, grow and actually building the new product. Our list size is about 12,000 people. Oh, wow. Yeah, we started this. We just did a challenge starting in January. And it's kind of like, it's a free challenge. Like I said, that's like our entryway for people. And then they get offered to join the membership to participate in the daily workout throughout the challenge, or they can do their own workout if they want, so it's still free. They also get a guidebook and a workbook. So we have about 4,000 people participating in the free challenge, like from all over the world. So it's really cool. We have a Facebook group, and people are really like seeing crazy cool results and, working out every day. And so that part's really rewarding to me too, to be able to like, in our fitness business, we can actually, change someone's health and change someone's life. So when you find a business that's not just about the money, but it has that passion behind it, I think it really shows.
No kidding. That's phenomenal. I love it, man. And I imagine you guys are able to just work from anywhere and have great autonomy and freedom, correct?
We both work from home, which is really great, especially since we have a toddler. We have a nanny though. So like I said, we went to Europe for 5 weeks, which was like been my dream forever. Never had, it's very expensive to do that. We went to 7 countries. And so we were able to go and work, and not have to worry about vacation days or, missing money. So that's probably like one of the biggest rewards for me about taking everything online, is that I can do it from anywhere, not just from home, but that I can travel, because
my dream has always, like, I've been always very passionate about traveling. That's actually why I started one of my first businesses, was I wanted to do that. And I just never had, it got very expensive to go to Europe. So I never had the money to do it, you know, and I don't think I would have if I would have stayed in college and continued living that life and on that path. There's no way that I would have been able to have the money to do that.
Oh, probably not. I mean, 22, I mean, you'd be graduating about now with a bunch of debt and just trying to find your first job.
All my friends are graduating. This is their last semester, you know, and it's funny. I mean, they're just in a totally different place than me.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, totally. Okay. What would you consider to be your worst entrepreneurial moment to date with all of this now? What's the story there?
Oh, that's tough. I don't know. I mean, I don't really feel like I had a moment that was like, that was a terrible decision. There's been for sure clients that I've taken on that I knew I shouldn't, you know, when you get like a gut feeling not to do something and you know not to.
What's like the worst client you've had?
It's usually the people who come to you and want a discount right up front. And that's like the biggest red flag right there. And you still say yes. And then they're like more work than any other client. I actually, in the last couple of months, worked with a client who, he was a male from, I don't know where he was from, somewhere in the Middle East, actually. And there was something like culturally there where I feel like being a woman, like he would talk, like literally talk down to me. It was very rude, you know? So I was like, I don't have to put up with this, you know? So like growing that confidence. But yeah, he started off our first call and he said, I told him my rates and he said, okay, well, I'm willing to pay you this. And it was like $300 less than my rates. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm not negotiating with you. That's not how this works. But, you know, I still was like, okay, we can do it for X amount and then, you know, move forward. And it was just like a nightmare. And I ended up actually, had done some of the work, but I just like refunded the money. And I was like, I'm sorry, I can't work with you. And I've worked with, you know, you work with a lot of people. So you have to always, and I tell my students this, you have to always, you know, trust that like, no, I shouldn't work with that person. If they're coming to you and they want a discount, most likely those people are going to be the nightmare clients because they're going to want a discount and they're going to want the most of your attention. And just the people that do that, you know, it's taking you away from what you're actually really good at and that good energy in your business. And so when you go in that direction, I always find as soon as I let it go, like I sign another client the next day. Like it always happens that way when I stay focused on what I want to do. So I think like those little decisions were definitely and learning for me, like taking my business from being a hobby that I did, you know, on the side of college or on the side of my job, which is how it started, and to a serious business where I have to make decisions and have tough conversations and, you know, stand up for myself or, you know, own up to something that's hard to do. And so all of those experiences definitely have built me. You know, you take it, I tell people all the time, you take it from a hobby to a serious business and you have to go through a lot of growing from that. Yeah.
And I love your point about different customers and what they're willing to pay and discounts and stuff, because that's something we've sure found out. We own a yoga studio here in town is one of our businesses, and that's something we really found out. A lot of studios, you know, in the area, and I know over in Seattle, we're here in Washington State, they do a lot of discounts and stuff like that, and we kind of went against the norm there, and we only do two discounts per year, and so all of our members typically pay a little more to be a part of the studio, but we just have phenomenal members. I mean, a lot of the time, those people are the best clients that are willing to pay a premium price to be a part of your business. And if anybody's read 4 Hour Work Week too, Tim makes a huge point about he was working hours and hours dealing with all these different clients in his first business, and he made the decision to drop all the clients except the 20% that were generating 80% of his revenue. and all of a sudden he's working less and still and actually making more money.
Yeah,
so.
that happened to me. And then another thing that came to my mind when you're saying this is when we owned, like before we turned it into a fitness online business, my husband was doing personal training, local personal training. And every time we would do like a Groupon, special, all of those people would never like become long-term clients. So it was a terrible thing to do because it's just attracting people who are, and I think that happens with yoga studios. They just go find the next Groupon, for the next studio, and they're just those discounters. And so that's really important to realize, like the quality of the customers and the clients that you're attracting is more important than the quantity sometimes.
Absolutely. Yep. Great quote. So how about on the flip side, maybe an experience or a story you have where you had an aha moment and something just clicked, and from then on, you viewed things differently or acted differently?
For me, like it was outsourcing in my own business. That was a huge aha moment. It was about 7 months ago. I was at this point where I was like trading my time, hours for dollars, and I was doing a lot of virtual assistant work. I was managing a lot of clients. I was super overwhelmed, and I realized like I have to put a limit on what I'm doing, and and get help. And so not just like for me too, because I'm also a mom, so not just help with my business, but help in the house, so we got a nanny, and that was something that like was huge for me because I always felt like, well, I'm working from home, and I'm supposed to also be with my son. Like that's why I'm working from home, is be with him 100% of the time. And so it was not until 3 months ago, honestly, that we hired our nanny, if that, and it took me forever to get over that and be like, well, I'm also running a business. And just like I said, taking it from a hobby to a business. And so outsourcing has been the biggest like skill I've had to learn, and letting go of that control of my business too, and getting support. And when I did that, so when I went through that phase of like, okay, I actually let go several clients who were still like lower paying me hourly rates, and I hired people. I actually doubled my income the next month because I just took on like higher paying clients, and I had time for them. And I had support and like space, and I was not working crazy hours, which I was at that point, So that's been for me like the biggest learning experience, is like giving up that control and realizing that I can't do it all. And then I'm running a business and I need support.
Emily, this is kind of a long question, but I think it's important the way it's phrased. So hang on with me here. But if you could time travel back to day one of your entrepreneurial journey and have 10 minutes with your former self to communicate any lessons you've acquired with the intention of saving yourself mistakes and heartache, what would you tell yourself?
I would say what I just said. I learned get support earlier, get help earlier for sure, and like be more confident in my decisions, because I did wait a long time before I left college. I pushed myself to keep going through the next semester, and it took away again time from my business. And so being confident and all in, and then getting support is what I would tell myself.
Awesome. For anybody listening who's interested in Facebook ads, sales funnels, online marketing, where would you suggest they go? I mean, how did you learn, besides obviously doing it yourself and trial and error? Kind of how did you learn how to do that?
So Amy Porterfield podcast was actually a huge one for me personally. I think she's a really good teacher. There's a lot of value in her podcast, so I would listen to those. That was one of my first introductions. And then there's a lot of online Facebook groups. I don't know if you're in any, but there's a lot of Facebook groups that have like 30,000, entrepreneurs. Some are still in their 9-to-5 jobs. Like there's some that are college students in there. It's a huge variety, but just seeing what everybody else is doing and the problems they're having, and you can, interact and network is a good way, because otherwise it's hard if you're online to network. You're not going to a physical location and meeting people. Yeah. So Facebook groups were a big game changer for me. I actually get a lot of clients out of Facebook groups as well. Yeah, all the time, pretty much all the time. Like it once I realized that existed, and I didn't even know, it was brand new to me. So once I started joining and really like responding to posts and interacting with people, I started getting clients from them as well.
Awesome. And then do you do you look at other people's stuff, like or did you look at other people's sales funnels and marketing process and maybe sign up for their email list and just kind of reverse engineer the stuff that you liked?
Yeah, definitely. I did do that, especially like the bigger names. So, probably not like people I didn't know, but people that had, like, Jeff Walker was somebody I read his book. Russell Brunson is another. He owns ClickFunnels and does a lot about sales funnels. I read his book. So those type of people I would follow and really learn from for sure. And then and Amy Porterfield has a lot, like, I just was really drawn to her and the way that she taught. So she has a lot that I would sign up for, listen to her webinar training, things like that. Whatever I felt like was something that I could learn from. Like, everybody learns differently, so they kind of like are drawn to different people, the way they teach. And then once that happens, you'll start getting targeted like Facebook ads, in your news feed, and you can sign up for those.
Yeah, that's interesting. So I have a question here. We could cut this out of the podcast or not, but I want to just see what could happen. Because I've dabbled a little bit in Facebook ads, but not for, like, I really honestly don't know anything. And I know it's kind of it seems pretty complicated, but also like an amazing tool. Mm-hmm. I am currently trying to sell my parents' house. They're moving. They've got this big house that we all grew up in. It's a unique place. It's a 6-bedroom, 3-bath, and it's really just designed for like a really large or growing family here locally. Mm-hmm. And we're not getting a ton of traction on it on the regular channels. And so I'm curious, knowing just that it's a big house, our ideal client is somebody with a large or growing family, and it needs to be somebody here locally. How would you go about setting up or boosting a post or setting up an ad campaign to just blast that listing out to the right people?
Yeah, so you can do, actually, like, in Facebook, you can make a demographic of moms and dads, like of families of certain of kids. So you could do that in your area, and that would probably be like not a huge audience alone. I don't know how big your area is, but you could start with that. And then the way I would judge it is like, is it getting clicked on? And then in a day, if it's getting clicks or people are interested, you might just spend $10 on it. Make an audience of, like, with your zip code within, 20 miles or something, parents of kids, and then put like there's like 5, I think, options that you can choose. And then you're targeting families. The other targeting you could do is, like, it's hard to target families other ways. Maybe there's like sports clubs that they could have liked those pages around you.
Interesting.
Or the actual school pages, so you could add that in there too.
Yeah, we're right next to a high school and right next to actually a really popular golf course.
Yeah. Okay, so I would add the golf course in there too. So, like, you find I don't know if the golf, like, I'm not sure. Sometimes they don't come up. So you'd have to see when you're typing it in, like, if the Facebook page comes up. But that's what I would start with. It's probably not a huge audience size, so that would be fine. Right. And then you start with just like $10 or $15, let it run for a couple of days and see if it's getting clicks. And that will tell you, if it's a good way to do it or not. So
some experimentation, and then you kind of find that niche or that audience, and that's when you put the more money into it.
Right. Yeah. And you're going to know, if it's like an audience that's interested, if they're clicking or not. So, that actually might be a good way, because, like, somebody might see it in their news feed who... You could also target, like, renters if they might be looking for a new house, because it's a tough one, because you would have to be, like, finding people who are willing and, like, possibly looking to move, But they might see it and know somebody and then tag them. You never know, on Facebook.
Interesting. That's cool. So tagging, like, having a part of your audience that could actually tag your actual ideal client, who might be close with your ideal client, and then also people that have liked pages with stores or golf courses or what have you around your area too. That's really interesting. Cool.
Yeah. We'll give it a try.
Yeah, I love it. I think that's really just helpful to understand how that process works. It sounds like you're at a basic level. You would just have to really understand your customer and your demographic, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, the most accurate way to target on Facebook is based on what pages they like, because that Facebook knows that 100% it's accurate. There's a lot of other demographics, and I see people get carried away with them. Like, for example, you can target income levels, but you have to ask yourself, how does Facebook know this, for sure, that this person's making over $75,000 a year? They don't. So you don't get overwhelmed by all those demographics. And if you can, start with just what pages does your ideal customer or client like. And then the real value is when you have like warm audiences. So they watched your videos, or they visited your website, or they are on your customer list, and you can target them, or you can create a lookalike audience. So you can tell Facebook, here's 1,000 people, and I want you to generate a lookalike audience for me of people who have all the similar age, similar demographic and characteristics as these people. So that's the gold. Like, that's truly where the valuable targeting comes in, but it takes a little bit of time to build that up first.
Oh, interesting. That's some really great insider knowledge there. So let's move on a little bit more to the lightning round here. What's a personal habit that contributes to the success you've achieved thus far?
For sure, my self-discipline, I think, and that I'm able to be really focused. For me, like, something that's been a big game changer is block scheduling. So right now, like, I only take phone calls on 2 days a week. When I'm working on client work, I'm working on client work. I'm not on Facebook and email at the same time. I really try to not multitask, and I think that helps me be more productive. So it's something that kind of comes natural to me to be really disciplined, but block scheduling has been something that I've had to learn, because I also find that somebody who wants to get a lot done, multitasking can be a bad habit for me, and it's actually not very productive.
Do you use any additional tools to help you focus? I know there's like certain music you can listen to, stuff like that.
No, I don't. I find that I can focus well if I actually exercise, like, on a regular basis better, and clear my head. And then I also make sure that I have time that I'm not on my phone or the computer. So, like, at night, I try to actually turn my phone on airplane mode, just because it's so easy to, like, constantly. My business, a lot of it is run on Facebook, since I'm in Facebook groups and like Facebook messages and all that. So it's really easy to, like, be doing it 24/7. So making sure that I unplug actually helps me with my productivity. So making sure that I do that and then committing to that has been really important too.
Do you get 8 hours of sleep?
Most of the time. So I have a toddler. He will ruin that sometimes.
Sleep is optional.
Yeah. But I am a person who needs sleep. And I did go through a phase when I was working really late at night, and then I would sleep in, and it was just not good. So I try to be done working, and having a nanny has helped me do that a little bit more, like set my work hours. So yes, I think sleep's really important, and it is really important for me too. So my business would never stop me from getting 8 hours from sleep. My toddler, on the other hand, might, but.
Do you, how many hours a day do you typically work?
Probably 6, I would say. Yeah, it's not, and then as soon as my son wakes up from his nap in the afternoon, I'm pretty much done working for the day.
Awesome. How much Netflix do you watch?
Not that much, actually. With my husband, sometimes at night, we'll watch like Netflix or Hulu, maybe an hour a day. We probably would have watched more. Like, I started my business and became a mom at the same time. So I often think, like, what would life be like if I didn't have kids and I had all the freedom, of that my business gives me, plus I wasn't a parent, I'd be probably traveling all over. But, lack of time because we are parents. So we don't have as much time for that. But it's a good way to relax. I also like to play games and stuff at night because then we're not just sitting in front of the TV. Sometimes, we work from home together and you'd think you see each other all day, but we don't. We're working separately, and like he can't be in the office. Like I have my own office because I'm on the phone a lot, and so he has his own space. And then he's working and filming, and so really it's like almost like if we were to go to jobs when we actually see each other.
Right. I'm on your website too here, and I see the 10 fun facts, and I see one of them is you like to play board games and you get extremely competitive. So
yeah, like we can't play chess together. That's one that
you just can't.
He's like really smart and good at games, and it just drives me crazy because he always wins.
What's your guys' favorite board game?
We got this one. It's called like Ticket to Ride, and it's a new one we got recently. Yeah, it's super fun. I got it like a couple of months ago. Someone recommended it to me. So we've been playing that, and it's not like overly competitive. I do like chess. It's just I can't stand it that he like has these, can't tell what he's thinking. He has all these strategies in his head when we play.
Have you guys ever played Settlers of Catan?
No.
Oh my gosh, you're missing out. Or maybe you should just not do it because you'll probably get addicted.
Yeah.
That is like all me and my siblings do. I'm trying to. I think it'd be fun to throw out a few more of these because they're kind of interesting. You've never had a soda in your life. That's amazing. Why?
Yeah, I don't like the bubbles. I don't like carbonation. So
it's nothing to do with health. It's about the bubbles.
No, I mean, like, we are pretty healthy. Obviously, we own a health business. But no, like, when I was a kid, I would have probably drank them. My brothers did. But I just don't like – I literally don't know what they taste like. Like, if you told me what a Coke – like, I don't know what it tastes like. I've never had it.
I bet you are, like, one of maybe –
I know. I used to joke that I should, like,
1,000 people on Earth.
Story. Yeah, right? I could sell this story to one of the soda companies and come on, like, try it for the first time on a commercial or something.
Oh yeah, no, seriously, that'd be amazing. I mean, it's just I do a lot of backpacking, and it's amazing. You'll be in some of the most remote places, and you'll still see like a Coke bottle somewhere. So
yeah.
So do you just not like bubbles in general, or? Yeah.
So like alcohol took me getting used to it a little bit. Some of the alcohol drinks, because I just don't like the carbonation. Even like kombucha, for example. It's like strong for me. Nobody
likes kombucha. I was just kidding. A lot of my family does, but I just can't. When you've seen how it's made and the SCOBY and everything, and I'm sorry if you're listening to this, just go Google kombucha and SCOBY, and don't ask me how to spell it. Just Google will help you there. Oh man. Well, so I imagine then going to Europe, there's a lot of like the sparkling water. I hear that's primarily what they drink. That must have been a nightmare.
Yeah, well, they ask you, do you want sparkling or still in every restaurant? So then you just say still. I want still water.
Let's see. Diehard San Francisco Giants fan. When I want to grow up, I want to write a book and travel the world. Sounds like you're starting to do that.
Yeah.
Your husband does all the cooking.
Yes. He does. I do not cook.
That's my wife and I kind of have this deal where she does all the cooking and I do all the cleaning, at least in the kitchen.
Yeah.
General house cleaning we split, but yeah, I'm always doing dishes.
It's kind of opposite for us, even though I sometimes get out of the dishes too.
I get serious pleasure out of completely reorganizing a closet, desk, or room. If I had all the money in the world, I would hoard new pretty calendars and planners.
Actually, this year I didn't buy one, which is like the first, because I always bought them and then never used them, which I think a lot of girls can relate to doing that. I would always buy this like $50 amazing calendar for January and then use it for like 2 weeks.
Yeah.
So I didn't let myself do it this year.
Good job. Yeah, Tony Robbins, he talks about positive priming and doing things and tasks that bring up the positivity. And for one of those one of those is actually cleaning too. If I can clean like even just one room, it makes me feel so much
I love
better.
Organizing, like taking everything out and then putting it back in all organized.
Oh yeah, totally. Let's see. Let me find one more here. You're terrified of scary movies and would never watch one no matter how much your husband begs.
Yeah, I do not like them.
Awesome. Okay, so Emily, do you read much? And if so, would you recommend any books?
So business books, I love to read. I don't make enough time for it. A couple that I have liked is Russell Brunson's book. And then Launch by Jeff Walker was good. What was the other one I was going to say?
Russell Brunson?
Russell Brunson. And I'm trying to remember the name of his. And I can't right now, but it's like...
What's it about?
It's .com secrets. So it's about sales funnels and Facebook
secrets,
ads.
okay.
Yeah, that's a great one. Russell Brunson's a genius. I also do like Tim Ferriss and the 4-Hour Work Week.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great one.
Oh, yeah.
Too. Yeah.
Awesome. How about an internet resource kind of like Evernote that you might recommend?
Yeah, I love Evernote. I also love Asana for a project management tool. It's ASANA. It's great, especially if you start to grow a team of people or you have an assistant that you want to delegate out tasks to and just keep something in one place. The other one that's great is Slack, which is like an instant messenger app.
You use that too?
Yeah, I use both of those with my team.
Awesome. Okay, last two questions here. I know we're kind of running out of time. Emily, what advice, some parting advice, do you have for our listeners who are thinking of dropping out of college to pursue entrepreneurship, but they haven't quite made that step yet?
I would say, start working on a business like while you're still in college and you're working on that and you have maybe you have another job or you have money, so that don't go into starting a business from a place of like zero money and scarcity and I have to make money this month, to make it and pay the bills, because that's not a reality for a business. Like you have to have money to put into it and time to put into it to grow it. And so I see people do that a lot. And so I think like it's kind of like a tough love piece of advice. But, for me, I wouldn't have made any huge life decisions until I had some stability in my business.
Yeah, love it. And on the flip side of that, what advice do you have for any of our listeners who are already on their entrepreneurial journey, perhaps, about where you are?
Keep going. Keep going and keep doing what you love, and just like take the journey. I'm all about that, and not being like, this is exactly the path that I have to go on in my business, and just seeing what opportunities come your way, and the people that you meet.
Yeah, I guess, sorry to ask another question, but on a related note, do you set really long-term goals, like 1 year to 5 year goals, or are they shorter term because of that kind of mindset?
I usually do like 90 days. I like to do 90 days, the next 90 days, what am I going to accomplish? And then like yearly goals too. Mm-hmm. So those two. I don't really do like 5 year. I think I don't know, I have no idea what my life will be like in 5 years. Yeah, and that's just interesting because it's been kind of a continuing theme. I've just seen that change over the last, 5 years or so. Right. Entrepreneurs, it used to be a big, like, what's your 5 year goal? What's your 10 year goal? Where are you going to be in 10 years? And now it's more to like, man, I don't even think, more than 6 months ahead, because things it's too overwhelming. Yeah.
And things can change so fast with, technology, where especially if you're running an online business. I mean, anyways, what's the best way for people to connect with you? My website's great. So it's emilyhirsch.com, HIRSH. And then you'll find, my Facebook. I'm on Facebook a lot. That's probably my main social platform. And then you can book a call with me on there. You can see the academy. You can basically see everything on my website. So that's a good spot. Awesome. Well, Successful Dropouts, you are the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. And you've been hanging out with Emily and Kylan today, learning what it takes to drop out, grind, and succeed. For everything we talked about today, head over to successfuldropout.com and type Emily into the search bar, and the show notes will pop right up. And as always, stay hungry, stay foolish.